接下来我们要面对 EDG 了，面对 Miko 还有 iBoy， 我们尽量去少犯失误，去找他们的失误，希望跟 Mystic 越打越好吧。因为季后赛马上要来了，为了冲击更好的名次，我们一定会努力训练，给大家带来一场精彩比赛。
Welcome back, everyone. We just heard from Celestial saying that he needs to play up against Mako and iBoy. And after game one, he's certainly going to need to do that because, like you said, they had a winning matchup.
Yeah, they did.
In that bottom lane, and they still weren't quite able to clinch it.
Yeah, they lost first blood and then lost another death quite soon. So he has been a big worry for me. Celestial is a big playmaker. I feel like if you put him on an Alistar, you put him on something like a Leona, he can make those big plays for you. But in terms of the laning phase, I don't think it's W's strong suit anymore. Mystic has been having a pretty off split so far, and it's been infecting the entire team as well. So we're seeing WE, they either win early with Xie or their win victory condition goes later and later and later into the game. They still have the teamfight portion, but the laning phase has been very shaky, very suspect for them this split.
And this is something that's a bit of a new development for Team WE. Last year, they were known as the Elder Dragon team for their propensity to sit back and scale, turtle, and lose gracefully up until they could take a late-game teamfight and turn it around. Since 8.4, the changes to Baron, the changes to Dragon, the changes to Elder Dragon, that's no longer a viable strategy, especially now that Baron cannon minions are in the game, the damage being fixed by that Banner of Command. So WE's old go-to is no longer anywhere near as viable as it used to be.
Definitely. You can't just win one team fight and snowball the entire game.
Yeah.
You actually need to engage. There's more emphasis on being proactive into the early game. And I just want to touch back a little bit on Mystic. Mystic, this is the guy that used to have the second highest CSD numbers in the LPL, right behind Uzi. But right now, he's nowhere to be seen. He's actually in the negative for most of this split, so that's a very worrying concern for WE going towards the second game.
We'll have to see, though, if he can start to pick himself back up, because we can see that blue side has been the side choice for Team EDG in that previous game. WE, though, with side selection in this game, too, have now chosen red side.
Yep, so a lot of teams are moving more towards the red side, and we can talk a little bit about the ramifications on patch 8.5 here. So in the NALCS, we saw teams win 9-0 on the red side. So red side was predominantly favored, but in the LPL, this actually hasn't been the case. We actually seen a very even split between blue side and red side wins, and part of the reason is because blue side, number one, they can't go for the Olaf first, just like WE did in game one, and also you save two bans in Swain and the Xayah in blue side as well. So it's actually been a lot more even in terms of the LPL, and that's our regional difference compared to NA right now.
And that regional difference is providing quite a lot of excitement, considering we are the LPL after all. We do like our team fights quite a bit, even though both of these teams are a little bit more macro-oriented. Clement, what's going to decide this game? Is it going to come down to just the pick and ban, or will WE be able to pull off late strategy?
Well, we just saw that Scout took one more MVP over Xie right now, and Xie, he doesn't like sitting at second place, so I expect a big game out of Xie if W is going to pull it through, and I expect an even count of the MVPs at the end of this.
Oh, very exciting. Well, we'll see if that is the case, though. Our caster's now ready to get us into Game 2.
Cheers, guys, and I kind of want to follow on from the conversation that the analyst desk was having, talking about WE and their strengths right now. It's not really in a laning phase, and it is around team fights. Now, that sounds like old WE, but they were better at getting to the team fights. So if you don't have an early game, how do you get to the mid game?
Yeah, there was a couple of things that you would have noticed in game number one if WE were the same strength as they used to be. Firstly, you would see the Caitlyn locked in by Mystic, and then you would just start shaking in your boots at the thought of playing against it. But that didn't really exist. He died very early on by the Xayah Rakan pressure of EDG. The other side of that now is that Xie exists, and he is a monolithic man to try and get past. He is very dangerous, but Scout gets the MVP against him. So what is WE to do to get a victory in this one? And my eyes still gravitate towards Xie, to the MVP of Team WE, no longer the MVP of the LPL as Scout has taken the throne. Can he actually get it back?
He has the chance to, once again, overtake. He just needs to get 2 MVPs in a row, so no pressure, mate. Try and get this one happening for you. So WE will take away the Swain and the Olaf, waiting on their third ban. On the opposite side, EDG will take away the Sion, Karma, and Tamkench for themselves. WE still waiting on their final ban.
Yeah, the Olaf to be taken away this time around. Team WE, of course, being on the red side means that the bans do shift just that little bit more. Talia is a decent ban if you want to try and get rid of, again, Scout's best champion. Based off his Game 1 performance, I wouldn't really be sure which one you'd preferentially ban, however, between the Cassiopeia and the Talia. They choose to do neither.
They're both going to be up here. EDG looking towards junglers. Now, Olaf has been taken away, so what's left open? Sejani's left open. That will be going down to Hara, so he gets a second Sejani game in a row right here. WE left with some of the scraps, so we'll see where Magic moves towards when he goes for something aggressive. Maybe we can see like a Jarvan come out of him when he goes for a tank in the jungle instead. WE, though, toying about the idea of Xayah versus Caitlyn right now, choosing what they want to go for. Last time Mystic had the Caitlyn into Xayah and died twice in lane 2 versus 2, but we'll pick it up again right here and see if he can change his fate.
I think by picking the Caitlyn, they should prioritize their jungler this time around. They shouldn't go towards their support because you have expectations of a Xayah Rakan to be seen from their opponents. So once again, they pick Caitlyn. They have a feeling, a hunch of where EDG will go in response and lock down that 2v2. So they do pick their jungler. They get themselves a decent jungle choice. It is his most played champion after all. This will be his 9th game on the job. They set themselves up to pick the support third.
EDG will respond though with a Camille coming in here. Well, Sejani has already been locked into the jungle unless we were seeing anything funky. So Camille will go straight into the top lane, I have to assume here for Ray.
Yeah, Camille straight to the top lane. That is a surprise pick. Not something that we expected to see, especially not as a second rotation champion from EDG. High priority on it.
Very high priority. EDG also lock in the Ezreal as well to match the Caitlyn in the bottom lane. And WE respond with their Shen pick right here. So it can go into the top lane, can go into the bottom lane.
And that's a complete shift from EDG with their style of drafting here. WE first, of course, locking in the Shen. Shen can be flexed between top lane and support, and that's not something that they've revealed just yet. They're also about to start banning out mid laners as EDG held that till their second pick phase. The Ezreal is an early rotation. The Camille as an early rotation shows how much of a preference Ray has towards carries in this particular set. Fiora always a possibility. I have to wonder if 957, can he actually even play these carries right now? Or is he just a tank player at the moment?
He's got Gnar. Great question, Rusty, because he does have Gnar, but primarily he just really plays tanks to split. And 957 honestly looks like 957 how he was last year in Spring, up until he got to playoffs, because 957 turned into a completely different beast once the stakes were raised, but in regular season didn't really show too much, and it's similar in this one this time around. Now, Talia and Azir have been taken away from Scout right here, taking away 2 of his strongest champions in the mid lane, and Vladimir will be banned up against 957 and Xie, and the Syndra taken away.
Yeah, Syndra banned away from Xie, not something you expect to see removed. Of course, on the opposite side, he's probably just going to look towards that. Does lock it in. Cassiopeia, very easy response this time from EDG if they would like. Very good magic damage dealer in the middle lane. And it hasn't been banned. And I know it's the Galio matchup.
Yeah, Xie finds himself Galio once more into the mid lane. We'll try and react to those bottom lane skirmishes, the top lane even. Try and get involved at level 6. Of course, we'll have global pressure alongside that Shen. And EDG, they lock in the Rise for the mid lane, and they are now looking for the support.
They hovered the Braum, and I do think the Braum I have the highest expectations, I should say, of the Braum being locked in, but the Thresh hover is a curious one to me. Against someone like a Caitlyn, you can try and catch the non-mobile champion out of position. Mystic does often step up on his Caitlyn. We'll have to see which direction they look towards. Either way, it should be a tank, given that their top laner is a carry.
Yeah, Mako was hovering the Alistar for just a second, but felt like he couldn't really get on top of that Caitlyn. So we'll instead lock in the Braum alongside that Ezreal. Great lane combination right there coming out from them. And WE looking towards their final pick. And it will just be an instant lock of Morgana. So after shooting that one's going into the bot lane, Shen goes into the top, Galio into the mid, and then Jarvan into the jungle.
Certainly what you'd expect. Pulse, of course, in the LPL, we've seen some Morgana top lanes, and it was not good. So it's going to be a support. Of course, into the Braum, it's a pretty good matchup. Into Sejuani, you can play around it very well. I am curious to see the interactions between a Camille ultimate and a Morgana spell shield. I would imagine it's also very good into that as well, preventing the arena from happening. So I like this Morgana pick a lot. I'm a big fan of it, actually. I think that, in particular, this pick enables Mystic so much, and Team WE's composition is just so dangerous at enabling Mystic on the AD carry role. They've got the Jarvan Galio combinations, the WE special from Worlds in 2017. It's very hard to beat this team when they get this particular combo, and that Morgana only accentuates it even further.
For sure, and WE definitely still looking towards their AD carry to be the carry of the team here, despite how game 1 went. Saying, Mystic, it's still your time to shine. You can make this happen. Xie is usually the person you look towards in this split to really go big in the mid lane, try and get that, put on those carry pants, you know, but WE looking towards the bottom lane to carry them through.
Definitely true. So with WE's very telegraphed team composition, the team fighting strengths they've got, the laning strengths that they've got, it's EDG on the opposite side that you have to start looking towards. And this man on your screen, Ray, can he step up 2 games in a row? The Fiora was outstanding. An early rotation, early focus on this Camille does make me inclined to believe that that's where all of the eggs are going to lie, into the basket array. They've even picked up the Ezreal, hard to kill. The Ryze, pretty difficult to kill in that middle lane as well. That's where a lot of the focus seems to be lying.
Very much a statement pick, for sure, for Ray to pick that, even when the Sejuani was locked in, so you know it's going into the top lane. And WE, well, what have you got? What have you got, 957? Can you challenge me with a Fiora? Are you going to go skill matchup, or are you just going to pick a tank? And in the end, WE go towards the latter.
Of course, there's still some early focus towards the bottom lane of EDG. The variability is there in their early game. It's that late game split push from EDG that you expect to see once again.
Well, as we get on to the rest, we'll see if EDG can make it the 2-0 sweep, or WE can bounce back.
I'll be honest with you, Pulse, they're more coordinated on EDG's side. They have
definitely
multiple
are.
people screaming at the start. It's not just a chant.
I feel like that's a safe option as well, because if you have multiple people, you don't just get one person who just happens to not be the ringleader on the day. That's happened a couple of times, and you just don't get a chant for the other team. So.
That is true. I've heard it from BLG a couple of times. They don't have a leader. But when they go, they still have a lot of fans. EDG have enough fans of just Mako alone to have their own chant if they would like, however. That's nice binding.
Completely blind onto iBoy, hits him square in the face, and he'll go back into the jungle. Of course, it's not going to be lasting damage, really. iBoy will get most of that health back as we get into lane.
But it was gold for Celestial.
True.
The Spell Thieves.
True.
Also, confidence play. Most Morganas hitting a first binding start to get... It's like Thresh. You hit that first one, it's just so much easier to hit the next one. There's mind games with your opponent. How are they going to change their play style? You just keep hitting me with these damn bindings.
I see it, I see it. Mid lane, we've got Xie versus Scout once more, and Scalio versus Ryze matchup. Xie has picked up the Dark Seal to start this one off, and of course has gone for Aftershock. I see Magic starting on the top side, pathing towards the bottom lane once again here from WE.
There you go, 2 from 2. Game's over, WE win.
Oh yeah, Celestial's feeling it now.
Let it be known, Celestial is so online. Take this man to golf. He'll hit the hole in one.
I mean, that's the power break point for Morgana when she starts hitting bindings versus item break points.
Well, the problem with skill shot champions is you need to hit the shot that requires skill.
Especially with this game very much revolving around Mystic doing well as well. Take a look at the top lane resolve first, coming in from 957. Really just trying to survive this lane, goes for Taste of Blood as well, just for that extra sustain in lane. Mako looking to get the damage down onto Mystic. Once again, there's 2 versus 2. Back forward from iBoy. He wants to get the connected damage. And he gets in there. And Celestial finds the return kill with the Tormented Sword. It's a 1-for-1. And Magic, he's thinking about coming down. But for now, it is just the trade.
Magic is there, but he's not going to be able to get anything. EDG, just go. They hit level 2. They've got Ignite. They said it is time to go forwards. And WE stand and deliver. Now, the real benefactor of this is still going to be iBoy. Is able to get the kill, gets the gold. Magic is in the mid lane.
Flag drag, but Scout stands his ground, doesn't get knocked up, and Xie, he's not feeling it. Just says, back away, Magic, this isn't going to happen, and Scout sends him packing.
Magic actually loses most of his health in that trade, of course. We'll have the red buff, so he'll be perfectly fine. But as it stands, this is a very good opportunity for Scout to go back, get his Tear of the Goddess as well, with no mana left because of that trade. Things have panned out very awkwardly, unfortunately, for WE's jungler. Panned out decently well for the mid laner of EDG. But really, again, to bring it back, the winner is the bottom lane. It's iBoy in particular. He's got the tier completed at 3 minutes. He is strong. The kill went over to Morgana for the side of Team WE, however, on the opposite side. So that's where you would have to look at and say, I mean, it's good for Morgana. It's good that she gets to upgrade her support item sooner as well for extra vision. And that's where EDG can start to get exploited, perhaps, if Celestial is able to place the proper warding down.
And it was such an aggressive play as well from iBoy, flashing and arcane shifting as well, trying to get point blank so the homing missile would connect. Really cool to see
Missed
in the
it
bottom lane.
too.
Yeah, he
Things
missed
could
it,
have been
but
a lot better if he hit the Q.
he might have even survived as well. Magic looking for a return gank onto the mid lane. Flash forwards, and you can't miss this flying drag. He's taunted up, and Scout will flash away. He's just teleported back into lane. Last auto attack, and Sheer gets the kill.
And that's the thing. We expected the tier flash teleport, the teleport to be swapped towards from Cleanse from Scout. He's got the unsealed spellbook. But to have the teleport, you have to remove the Cleanse. And so Xie and Magic, making a lot of sense with their decision making here, say, well, he's teleported, he doesn't have Cleanse. I have Flash as a Galio, kill him. And so he dies. Very simple to execute on as well, but the correct play from WE.
This has absolutely been what WE have looked for time and time and time again. That Magic has joined the roster. It's just like, look towards the mid lane. I'll set you up. I'll come with the CC, the Galio Jarvan combo coming out there as well. So WE bounce back. Mid lane Sheer is going to pick up the blasting one as well. And just touching on a Keystone briefly, we didn't get a chance to talk about it since we've constantly been fighting over the first 5 minutes of the game, but Ray has actually gone for press the attack in the top lane versus Comet, which is typically what we've seen from a lot of Camille's, but he's actually going for more of the carry potential of going later into the game. It's like, well, Shen's not going to do anything to me, so I'll do more damage later.
Wants to be able to burst people out by having that press the attack available, of course, in team fights, which is what you mean by scaling up with his damage output. Comet, super good for laning phase, but you're right. How's he going to push the Shen out of lane realistically anyway? I mean, he's going to have a hard time as it is, and I think not using the W for laning phase and instead not pushing by using that is a good outcome for any Camille in lane. He's against a Grasp user as well, so he'll get the auto attacks off in lane. Not a bad choice of Keystone. And whilst we're talking about Keystones, Pulse, this is not the first. It's the second lethal tempo Sejuani I believe we've seen. It's very awkward for your clear, but of course you go precision tree anyway as Sejuani for the attack speed the tree provides.
Oof, that was a lot of damage in the bottom lane. Celestial just getting that binding through the minions down to iBoy. That's going to be followed up with the trap, and of course a lot of damage down onto that Ezreal in the bottom lane. But you're right, it will be that Keystone on Haro. Now I am actually just looking towards 957 because his teleport is burnt, but he didn't go back to base. I think he just accidentally clicked his teleport on the minion. Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, he's level 6, so he's got his ultimate teleport to get to a fight.
But he doesn't have the
teleport to get back. Yeah, exactly.
Oh no. I certainly hope that wasn't a misclick. Something must have happened.
Yeah, it just randomly went on cooldown in lane, so I have to assume that was the case. But indeed, EDG will try and play around that. I'm not sure if 957 was visible, and Ray would have
we'll pretend
communicates that knowledge.
It didn't happen. He hasn't teleported. Nothing's happened, and EDG are going to play like that. That's the plan. And until it's exploited by EDG, we'll plead ignorance to the big, big mistake that 957 on his Shen might have made.
Yeah, it's rough because, of course, WE want to be looking for these plays, look for those skirmishes around that level 6, especially from Sheer. You know, if you can play around the bottom lane, get Mystic ahead, you know, even protect the bottom lane, but that's going to be harder for Shen, looking towards
Level
the mid lane.
6.
Flash, Cataclysm, ultimate as well, the combination. Get out of that round warp, stay here, we're going to kill you. And Haro, he can't help Hot Scout.
Haro chooses to not go in at all. I feel like there's a world where he could have just used the ultimate on Xie to prevent the Galio ult, but doesn't want to cancel it. And just like that Scout, he actually even waits the ultimate, knowing full well that Galio is about to come tumbling down onto him. Just gets cancelled. No summoner spells, well exploited once again by Team WE, playing around their 2v2, giving 2 kills over to Sierre. It's all been set up by Magic.
Setting up a bigger and bigger advantage now from WE, so they don't even need the Shen. They could just come in with this 2 versus 2 combination, and they are absolutely fine in that mid lane. In terms of the bottom lane, however, Caitlyn's just been farming even with the Ezreal so far. That first kill going to put iBoy slightly ahead, but it's not going to mean too much as the game goes on. And Mystic, he's still trying to scale up right now. He's trying to become that 3-item crit beast that we really need to see from WE.
Yeah. Now, Mystic is still yet to recall, and he's got about 70 CS. Of course, does have the boots, but there's a lot of items that the Caitlyn will be able to get for himself if he would like. The longer this laning phase goes, however, the better it is for EDG, because they already have the tier. They have been laning for such an extended period of time with the tier completed that they're just set. They're happy to continue this lane for as long as necessary. The risk comes about when objectives come into question. This is the first objective that you're looking at. Team W able to just go over towards it. EDG's bottom lane couldn't respond even if they wanted to, and there is no way that Scout and Haro are going near this and trying to 2v2.
Nice little pickup for WE for sure. Will be the first dragon of the game and an Infernal, no less. Next dragon will be also a Mountain. So WE, if they can maintain control of the river. They'll find themselves 2 very nice dragons to start off the game.
That recall would have happened from iBoy. It was a bit of a bait there. They psyched themselves out and they lost the mental warfare. He gets a sack of gold from it.
That's all good.
He's a happy camper now.
I'll call that one value for sure. Magic and Xie, he's coming in. He's always in tow behind Xie, following him around.
This is a helicopter parent game.
Yeah.
I respect helicopter parents, but having worked in teaching, not that much. They're a bit annoying.
But in this case, it feels like it will very much work out for W. That's what you want. You want him to be there all the
EDG
time.
is a teacher. That's the thing.
Right.
It's got to be very annoying to be Scout and just constantly see
Scout's
Magic
the
nearby.
teacher.
Water bush. Oh, look. There they are again. Like,
Yeah, it's been rough for him because Scout, I mean, he can't walk up to even the middle of the lane now because probably Magic's there to try and gank me. I can't contest objectives. Even if I try and roam out of lane, guess what? Magic's probably there as well. So definitely rough in the middle lane. But for now, we're just seeing these lanes pretty much just locked into each other.
yeah. It's also the bleed over of exactly what that means, right? If Scout can't leave his lane, then the bottom lane isn't really safe from EDG either. They can't afford to be aggressive, look for 2v2s. Haro's also just playing defensively in an attempt to find the Galio if he's going to ult bottom. They had no vision, so he was just sitting at the red buff. He doesn't know where they are, but he knows that a Galio's ult range is approximately where he was standing and he can cancel it. That's what they're trying to do right now. Play it slow. Once they get the recalls in, things could shift from EDG, however. But the current tempo is sitting with WE. Only by a small amount, however.
It's definitely going to be about these item breakpoints as Mako teleports back into the bottom lane here. As the Rod of Ages has been completed by Xie. In the top lane, it's just the makings of what could be a Ravenous Hydra or a Titanic Hydra, though there is a gang into the top lane. But Ray sees it coming from a mile away and simply walks away.
Yeah, not even the flash needs to be used. He just casually walks himself to safety. That's a big whiff, honestly, from Team WE. Xie not having the ultimate gives a free recall over to EDG. Scout has got the teleport as well on his rise. And they've also given the free recall over to iBoy right now by setting him up like this to go back to base. And that's going to be a massive purchase for both AD carries, but it's forced by EDG. They make it happen, and they can, because Xie goes top lane and makes a mistake.
Yep, no longer be able to deal with the bottom lane, and Ezreal gets to go back and completes his Mana Moon, and also picks up the Sheen, and actually just a long sword and a control ward off of that. So it was very much a big purchase. You have to look towards Mystic as well, because probably after this wave, I'm expecting him to also recall.
Buy a full Infinity Edge. The amount of money that he has, I have a feeling that, I don't know the exact amount. If I was to guess, 110 odd CS, it'd be like 2,600 gold maybe.
I think maybe he'll have the components at most. He'll have,
You reckon?
yeah.
Oh, he has already bought boots. You know what? I think he'll have every component of a completed item.
Yeah, I think so too. And maybe a control ward. Let's see, because he's recalling now.
You
So,
just-
so the bets are on.
Mystic Control Ward.
Good point. Maybe not a control ward. I retract that
Oh,
statement.
good one.
Here comes WE into the bottom lane, looking to see if they can make something happen. Celestial is alongside them, but WE actually deciding to back away from this one. Xie doesn't have his ultimate, though Magic does. They have been warded out, however, so
You
they
know,
know
I'm upset.
exactly where Magic is.
He hasn't recalled, so that's the only reason I'm upset. I just needed to get that out of the way. He has to stay for another wave. Magic is here to try and assist in the recall. EDG could probably take this fight. When you look at how strong iBoy is compared to Mystic, Mystic is throwing peanuts at them. Doesn't
He's
do any
literally
damage.
got a pea shooter because he hasn't gone back. So
The tickle monster. Morgana is doing more damage than him. Morgana has been able to recall, and they have to send the Caitlyn back to base sometime this year.
they are trying, but EDG are keeping them in lane, sending the waves in constantly. That's why Magic is down here to try and relieve pressure, just so Mystic can go back to base. Finally, he will do at 120 farm for his first purchase. Left turn. He actually goes for
Okay,
the
he had
static
about
shiv.
3,200 gold. Yeah, a bit more. He actually had a lot more. That's
yeah.
incredible.
Which wasn't quite the Infinity Edge, but does actually go towards the Static Shiv and the Pickaxe in the end. So going in for the wave clear as well and looking for the immediate spike.
Yeah, 3,525 gold upon that recall. How many times do you sit there in your own League of Legends games and just wait until you've got that amount of money before you get to go back to base? The answer is often. You're making mistakes. It should not be often at all.
This is definitely more of a team thing in WE's case for
It's
sure.
about to explode. Everything's about to just... The amount of strength that they have all just picked up for themselves.
It's big. Where's it going to explode, Rusty?
I mean, with a Caitlyn composition, I expect it to culminate down towards the bottom lane. The Galio is also available, and Jarvan has the ultimate. Shen, also able to go down there. I expect that Caitlyn just tries to step up and take the turret. And if EDG try and stop it, they just go on EDG.
And W have plenty of ways to get into that bottom lane for sure, but there's a lot of mobility just across the board coming in from EDG and WE all to turn up to a play. So if someone starts a scuffle, everyone's going to get involved.
Because Haro has to hover with the aggression that you're starting to see from CA and Magic down towards the bottom side. The tower's going to fall pretty much from just the push. iBoy's losing lane. Unfortunately, of course, being the Ezreal against a static Shiv Caitlyn, not a lot of ways to counteract the fact that they've got more push than you do. So by him going back to base, I feel like this is going to be very close to just the turret being pressured and taken down. Especially if Mako does that constantly.
However, he tanks pretty much all of that damage and then proceeds to stand in Tormented Soil and just says, come at me, take my turret. Give it your best shot, because Scout's also coming down, so he can react to the play. WE aren't really taking a risk. We'll go back to base here. Ray is still in the top lane, on top lane island. There's been farming away. Shen's got 136 farm, which is almost perfect farm at this point in time. EDG on their side, Ray got almost 150, of course it is.
He's taken some red buffs as well. He's had some jungle camps in there, so Ray's been pressuring not just the top lane. There's a lot of concern for EDG with all of WE coming down to their bottom lane, so they're trying to take small things away from elsewhere on the map. They had a red buff before, so that means the amount of time spent from WE bottom lane is evidenced. Of course, Magic was down here for about 3 odd waves, trying to enable Mystic just to recall. As it stands as well, we're starting to see the makings of a different item build from iBoys going towards the Trinity Force.
Yeah.
You often see the Iceborne Gauntlet as the item of choice for most Ezreals in the league. He needs to maximize his damage output this game, it feels like, or at least he feels like. He's opted towards it.
Now, as much as we focus on the AD carry recalls, both top laners have not gone back in a long, long time, specifically Raid. That's pretty much the same items we checked in on last time we saw him in the top lane. So he was trying to recall, Shen stopped him once again. He's probably going to look for another recall, though he is taking Gromp right now. So it basically just means if a fight happens in the bottom side and both top laners teleport in, they're just going to be super squishy.
Yeah, I don't know how much they want to contribute to a fight that happens in the bottom lane right now. Shen will have much more utility, of course, and Camille's the one with a higher need to go back to base. Otherwise, there's no point in her contributing. Oh, here we go.
Celestial, he's looking for blood right now, and here comes 957 to follow up. Trap comes down, and that's the double taunt out from 957. He finds one onto iBoy, and Mako, he's put in place. That was another great binding out from Celestial. Hey, you've got to finish him off, though. Jumps away, almost going to be enough, but eventually falls, and Sheer, he's trapped in the pit. He's caught out. Magic, he's looking for the re-engage, though. He has his Cataclysm, but he has to flag drag over the wall, and another fantastic binding from Celestial. Disengages, but they continue to keep up the assault. That's going to be a kill down onto Ray, as he buys some time with the Hextech Ultimatum. But now Scout, the binding, they just don't stop. Another kill set up for Mystic.
EDG step up way too far, and Mystic's able to just stand and deliver the entire time. It's now 2-7 in kills, and this turret will be sure to follow shortly afterwards. WE make the play. We mentioned it may not be ideal for a Camille to come down here and contribute to the bottom lane. Well, item spikes or not, it didn't matter, because 957 was there significantly faster, and WE were able to control that 2v2. Constant good play from WE in the second game compared to the first.
I just got a lot from that one, and of course we were nitpicking their laning phase because of course that's where it really just fell apart for them, but WE in this game done very well. They picked up first tower, they just won that last skirmish as well. We can see this one actually starting from the middle lane. We were focusing on the bottom lane.
Yeah, so while this was happening, of course, iBoy goes down, but Scout, Haro, they're in first. Late teleport as well. Had to be from base from the Camille, so that's why I was a little bit delayed to purchase the Trinity Force. And from here, EDG could take a trade. They could actually be pretty happy with this. He's going to be safe, so he's out. That's a flash gone from the Camille. And they get into the ultimate, and this is where you know you've made the biggest mistake of all time. Stepping forwards, using the Rise ultimate, trying to go in and continue the rest of the fight when WE have had 15 odd seconds to get all of their cooldowns back up and available, wasn't necessary at all.
Really was that round warp that sealed the deal there. Just teleports into middle of a bunch of people. That's an easy setup for 957 Shadow Dash. And that just means more and more CC. You know, a lot of this hard to land CC, like the traps and the dark bindings, they're going to hit a stationary target. So WE completely demolished that team fight. And you're right, EDG, they kind of overstepped in that one for sure. They were binding off more than they can chew. And Ray was not really able to impact the fight either. I'm not even sure if he managed to hit anyone.
The LPL is having a very rough day with the Rise ultimates. If you watch the first set between IG and Rogue Warriors, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say that. But
oh yeah, no spoilers.
A couple of cannonballs happened here and there.
True, we had a disastrous one yesterday as well that went to LWX's death. Don't know if you remember
Oh, actually,
that one.
yes. Oh, no. It's been a bad week.
Yeah, it has been,
Rise
it's actually been a
Ultimate
bad
in
week
the
for sure, yeah.
LPL.
Well, don't worry, Rusty, it's about to end. We've got week 10 just coming up on the horizon on Monday. But for now, EDG, it's got to back away once more, just try and get some of their resources in the jungle, move towards the top lane, in fact. 957 recognizing this with the tower going down, trying to escape. Hookshot keeping him in place, and the rest of the team is following after. And there's the Galio ultimate to try and respond. Ray, he's actually quite low. Winds of War is the back away on this one. Haro, Mako, and Scout all turn up to the play, but they've already disengaged.
The party's arrived, but the tower's already gone. It was just a disengaged party. They all escort the president to safety. Ray's gonna live, even though he doesn't have a whole lot of health left. But we are seeing the makings of what EDG's composition wants to do. Arise is in the mid lane, has a decent amount of wave clear, is pretty hard to kill. Ezreal, long-ranged, consistent poke and damage. Well, who's going to stop the Camille in the side lane? Shen can only hold on for so long. And eventually, the Camille will start to run away with the game. That's the first turret that we've seen gone down from him in just the 1v1. Now the lane swap comes into play. It's a battle of who can take the turrets first.
Yeah, that is the concern, later on into the game, and indeed if the Shen can become that brick wall. But for now, WE get the rotation into top lane. iBoy is pretty much by himself before the team actually arrives. So this top tower, almost not long for this world.
Pretty
Mako
much
now
just
just
gone.
arrives. Yeah, last auto tank is just dead. So WE find the second turret of the game. No response from EDG.
Very late from the rest of EDG to get there. Of course, remember that the teleport was used by Mako, so his positioning on the map was a bit awkward. I think he went back to base afterwards because he swapped it over to the exhaust now. So EDG aren't really in a position to defend that turret. So if we're going to talk about what I just said, who wins the race to take down turrets, pretty definitively Team WE.
Especially with this Caitlyn. And of course our focus has to be on Mystic in this game. He's playing the Caitlyn. The team composition is pretty much just built around this Caitlyn, protecting her, making sure that Mystic can get big. And he's already 2 items, so he's well on the way to becoming that big Caitlyn.
Celestial's also having a very good game. It's not just Mystic on the Caitlyn that can step up, it's Celestial enabling him to do all of this. I think so far, 0-1, 1-0-4 rather, the scoreline doesn't reflect how much work Celestial's actually been able to contribute to this game. This has been a very, very important showing from the support of Team WE that he's able to integrate to the roster. He even said it, he just needs to play up in this set, perform better alongside his AD carry and Mystic. Well, he's doing that in Game 2.
You're definitely right. There is a direct correlation here between Celestial doing well in lane and Mystic also doing well in lane. But, Celestial just has not missed a beat when it's come to these bindings. He landed 3 in that last fight as well. That was crucial to WE winning that one. And the siege continues in the mid lane. It's almost the outer turret down here for WE, and they would be able to crack it on the next wave, it looks like, unless there's a response from Scout here.
Scout's moved, he's got the ultimate that he could threaten to go in, but EDG would have to fight. They'd have to engage if they wanted to defend this. It's unlikely that they can.
That was the ultimate down onto Shie to lock him in place, and Magic just walks it off. But that's a lot of ultimates used, and iBoy's low, and Haro wants to go back to base. So WE just going to take this.
That should pretty much be it. The next wave will crash. It looks like it's going to be a cannon as well. No real possibilities of a defense from Scout. He does have the cleanse, so Morgana bindings can be cleansed through if he wants to focus on clearing the waves. We'll have to see how he plays this one out, because the turret, dead to rights, especially with the door gone.
There it goes. Third tower of the game to WE, and night and day between Game 1 and Game 2 for this team. Shie will go into the jungle, clear out the wards as well, and this is pretty much going swimmingly for Team WE.
Yeah, they get the Caitlyn going, they get the turret in the bottom lane, and the Caitlyn is unlocked. Suddenly a siege composition is incredibly viable. That's what they're able to execute upon. Mystic goes top lane, Mystic now goes mid lane. The team corrals around him. It's this next step where things usually get a little bit more tricky for the side of Team WE. Can they break the next part of the map? Can an inner turret go down? Vision's harder to place for EDG, but it also means that WE have to step up.
Yeah, walk into the jungle, walk into some dark, shadowy alleys, I guess, into EDG's jungle that they probably don't want to face check with Mystic. Send in the tanks first. In the bottom lane, Ray still going to be pushing. That's what he's going to do for most of the game, honestly. I think it's 957, but he's become a pretty good brick wall. He's already got the Titanic Hydra, now he's going into the Randon's Omen, so he's pretty much made himself to be anti-Camille bot.
And speaking of Titanic Hydras, that's the build that Ray's going to commit himself towards as well, so it's not all in on split pushing for the top laner of EDG. He's gone towards a more teamfight-oriented version of the split push build. Of course, he can do both now. He's not going to be tanky, but he's going to be harder to kill. I think the biggest goal that EDG have got for themselves is kill Mystic. It's pretty obvious that he is the MVP that needs to die. With iBoy maximizing damage with a Ryle's Crystal Scepter picked up from Scout as well. It's hard for WE to chase their respective opponents. But who's going to go with Ray when they try and get into the backline?
Shie just as punches to relative safety, but he's still getting chased down. There's the ultimate out from 957, turning up into this play, and a redemption for the heal as well. Haro, he's trapped in place, he's completely dead, and WE, here they come to wipe up the mess. iBoy flashes out of the way, does not want to be in that one, but Magic follows up with a fantastic Cataclysm, and there is no escape for the AD carry.
I mean, iBoy didn't need to flash, but he flashed out of respect. The team fight is won by WE, and it's happened just next to the Baron buff. They don't necessarily need to do the Baron, but they can control the vision, which they just missed that one ward. Now they've started it off. They've got the pressure. EDG, this could be a problem for WE if they don't play it correctly. EDG are here.
Here comes the teleport from Shie. He's back to full health. He's back to zoning. And while Mako is pushing up, that's a stun down onto Scout. They have to both flash in tandem. And WE, that secures the Baron.
And easy as you'd like. The Baron is clean. It's there for Team WE. The shops are available. The purchases for the items are there now, and they have snowballed incredibly hard. With the Baron buff, in a turret's very easy to take. They should be set up to succeed from this point onwards. Just waiting to see if they can do it.
Now EDG, they were looking towards mid lane. Maybe we can take this down before WE arrive. Weren't really feeling it with a Rise and a Braum in there, so they'll actually teleport down to this Cloud Dragon instead. Take this one away. It will be a consolation prize. First two of the game were an Infernal and a Mountain Dragon, but they'll get themselves a Cloud Dragon. Here comes the replay.
The fight starts off trying to catch Shie out of position. And he is pretty out of position, but the Shen ultimate, the redemption, a lot of things to keep him alive for an extended period of time. And Haro isn't all that tanky. Remember, 957 built damage as well, so the fight follows afterwards. Binding misses, respect flash from iBoy actually gets him killed. The follow-up combo is there. You didn't kill the Galio, Galio comes back to kill you, and that's the fight over.
Magic playing that exceptionally well as well. Sees that Ezreal has no more dashes, no more arcane shifts, no way to be slippery, and it locks him down the Cataclysm, the Flash Cataclysm at that as well. He's actually gone for a Goggle Stoneplate second in this build, so it's very clear what he's looking for this game. I'm just going to ult people, I'm going to CC, the rest of you guys, you're going to deal the damage.
Yeah, they're pretty snowballed as well, so he can afford to go towards the stopwatch item, so to speak. He's got enough money after the last couple of fights that he can finish that one off and have a Kindle Gem. But even Shie in the mid lane has gone towards a stopwatch for himself. So it's very clear the plan is just dive. Not even just snowball and get turrets anymore, but have a Caitlyn step up, place the trap line, and just taunt EDG into coming towards them. If they can, then they'll probably run into certain death EDG. And if they don't, then there's a chance that WE turn around and dive them instead.
I've said it once and I'll say it again, this is night and day from WE, and obviously the biggest difference was the early game actually went WE's way, so it means that they can go into that mid game. We actually get to see a mid game from them and how they can operate around that kind of timeline. But EDG, I mean, they've tried to make these plays happen, but so far they've all been turned around on.
In a battle between a strong mid game team in EDG and a strong late game team in WE, we've seen the shoe on the other foot. Now the responsibility for EDG is to try and scale up in this game. But how hard can they really scale when the Camilla's just gone even? There's no turrets to take, there's no save point on the map to actually take them either.
It's tough, and EDG have to play on the back foot right here. You've got Mystic and Celestial pushing up the top lane. Meanwhile in the jungle, Magic is ready to rotate, Shie pushing the mid, and of course 957 in the bottom lane, trying to prevent the split push from Ray, who's actually moving towards the mid lane now. There is a potential for EDG to try and collapse up to the top lane, but WE is playing it safe, they're sieging slowly.
I like what Ray's done, that he is positioned in mid lane because he doesn't have the teleport, so he's going to be in a close to rotate position. But I don't think that realistically means that EDG can defend themselves the top lane in a turret either. It's just going to go down. The concern is that they're not set up to defend this next turret. WE are steamrolling their way through. I don't think they'll slow down.
Yeah, EDG only have 2 members here. Mako can buy a bit of time bringing up the door, but I mean, WE just going to lay waste to this tower right here. EDG finally turn up, and Mystic just needs to hit that 2 more times. This could be a pick, however, onto Magic. Nope! That's going to be the Black Shield out from Celestial, and then he just walks away unharmed. Top tower is down, and it feels like the hardest part, you know, cracking the base has already been done for Team WE.
Certainly has. There's no more Baron left, unfortunately. Is the only concern that they've got for themselves. iBoy's poke is starting to become meaningful. There's no minions to stand in front of. So I feel like WE may actually just get pushed back right now. But we'll see how they play this one out. Remember, the Morgana bindings, as well as the Black Shield, are so pivotal to defending this. I don't know who can kill Mystic when that's available.
That was more than the half of Scout's health from one headshot crit there from Mystic, so I can confirm he hurts.
They're trying so hard to defend. There's just no way to defend. The Morgana pick is actually the biggest deal for me right now. The Ezreal, I'm not too sure on the Ezreal in particular. But for the rest of the map, they're okay. They just need to try and continue to hold on. I don't think they can. WE's constant onslaught with this snowball Caitlyn. It's not just the 3-item build, actually. It's not the first time we've seen this from Caitlyn, but he's gone for a 3rd Zeal. He's going maximizing his attack speed, as well as having the 100% crit build.
As Caitlyn is already massive and just got even stronger with that back, moves on to his 4th item, which is now the Phantom Dancer as well. So he's got more protection on top of Celestial, who's going to be peeling with him, plus Xie, plus 957. So it's going to be so difficult to lock down Mystic. But you know, if he dies, that is a way for EDG to find themselves back into the game. If Caitlyn's dead, that's a huge amount of damage down the drain.
That is the way. There is only one way to win this game for EDG, and that is assassinate the Caitlyn. And ideally, it is assassinated. It's not teamfight kill the Caitlyn. Xie's actually completed a full AP Galio build as well, something that you'll see a lot more often on Galios. Gone are the days of the tank. The tanky stats only come from the runes themselves, having Resolve and having the Shockwave.
Even so, going for AP, Galio still feels very tanky. You know, the fact that he gives himself resistances using the Shield of Durand and his ultimate as well. You know, Xie will still be able to withstand a lot of damage. Plus, he's got the Zhonya's Hourglass as well.
The W in particular is a big deal. I will say, however, that this tanky Galio that has gone full AP can one-hit everyone, given that there's not really a full dedicated tank on EDG's roster currently. So I don't think anyone can even 1v1 him if he wants to start going to side lanes. Always a possibility. He's ticked over to level 16, so that is a real chance.
I mean, Haru is a dedicated tank, but he is dedicated towards armor currently. He's got Merc Treads and hoping that's going to protect him against the Galio, which will be coming in here. But for sure, that front line probably not going to be long for this world, whereas iBoy will have to try and output this damage in these team fights and indeed when these sieges happen. But W have knocked down so many structures off of that one Baron alone. They've opened up such a big gold difference here. It's 6,500 gold over towards them. And honestly, most of that's probably on the Caitlyn.
By no means is the snowball as severe as it was in the first game from EDG when they took down WE, but it is still there. 6,000 is it's a gold difference you can come back from. Definitely still in this game is EDG, but it is not going to be easy for them. This isn't a win the team fight, win the game type of affair here. It is you have to win a team fight and then another team fight, or you have to win it and immediately get the second objective of the Baron, which is up in 15 seconds. I think this next Baron probably just decides if WE win or not.
So if that's the case, and Ray, he's gone for his triple item spike right here. He's got the Ravenous Hydra, the Sterix Gauge, and the Triforce. We saw him do this last game, in fact, on Fiora. Seems to be his split pushing build right here for Ray, but hasn't really been able to do too much this game. Knocks down the top turret against 957, but for the most part, even if he meets 957 in the bottom lane, he'll stop him from pushing.
A lot of the gold difference is in the turrets, though, being 1 to 7. So if you can start to scale up, get some extra items and start threatening in the split push, then he'll be fine. But he's not splitting. He's grouping up with the team right now. Shen is pushing bottom lane. So WE honestly don't touch the Baron. They have no reason to touch the objective until EDG overstep themselves. It's a fight that you'd look towards, or it's getting a bottom lane turret.
Oh, EDG are looking for the opportunity to engage right here. It's about to turn into a 5v5 as Shen is teleporting in, but Ray, he dives into the backline. He's looking for the assassinate onto Mystic, but there is just too much protection. And now he has to back away. Mako low, and Haro tanking up for his team, but WE have barely taken any damage as they take down Mako. Follow up onto Haro, he gets taunted, and iBoy and Ray, they jump over the wall, but the Baron's angry.
They have to just run away, they have to recall, and they'll have to concede themselves the Baron. EDG, they've still got 4 alive, so ultimately, they didn't just outright lose the team fight, and I think that's why WE may want to back away and just not go for the Baron straight away. They are going to walk back to the area, however, as they see Ray. They've still got control, they've still got the vision down. It's just so tanky. No one took damage from WE.
That was absolutely absurd, but I mean, you have to look at the positioning from the team. Ray dives into the backline without any assistance, really, but now EDG are trying to contest this Baron, but it's already dead, and Sheer is looking for the opportunity to take down the enemy AD carry once more. The flash comes in from Haro. He wants blood right now, jumps onto the Shen. Won't be enough damage, though. Nice sidestep in from Ray. It's going to be the true damage coming through, and Mystic is down. There's the kill out from iBoy, and they're looking towards the second, the third, onto Sheer. He's by himself right now. He can't take anyone with him, and 3 kills for the Baron. EDG find themselves a power play.
And a good body block from EDG to ensure that their AD carry stays alive, but an even better assassination onto Mystic to ensure the AD carry of Team WE is gone. And as they kill the most valuable member of that team, suddenly they can get the rest of the team fight behind them. Now they push forwards. 30 seconds on Xie, 25 on Mystic. They'll get a turret, but then a Baron buff WE will be coming back at them afterwards.
Yeah, for now, EDG are very low on the old health bars, but there is a good
going.
15 seconds left on Mystic, so
they've
got
committed
that
to
amount
the
of time,
push.
Rusty, yeah, to take down this turret. It's still going. They won't be able to finish the game off of this, but they can at least take an inhib and back away.
Yeah, this is good. They're taking the maximum EDG. They choose not to be safe this time around, and from a very reserved side, I admire that the most. Of course, they had an inhibitor spawn in top lane that coincided with defending their base, defending their Nexus turrets. We get to see this fight again. Mystic is the man who dies, so he's going to have to be the one that you look towards as to how he dies in the first place here. The answer is one of the fastest rises you've ever seen, just sprinting at him and taking him down there immediately. So he'll get that first kill. iBoy and Scout, somehow, while the rest of the team, the tanks, are fighting the tanks, the carry is just assassinated. There's a fight happening.
Yeah, they just simply walk up and kill Mystic, but Ray, he's by himself in the top lane. He was caught on the back foot, I guess, either split pushing or trying to recall, but WE, they get the pick, and now they're looking for objectives.
Regardless of how he was caught, he was caught. His position on the map was very far forwards. He probably shouldn't have been there at all, especially when the enemy team has got a Baron buff and you're trying to get some vision down, get vision in place, and play defensively for the duration of the buff. You had an inhib. You were set up to succeed, and now you've got 35 seconds without your top laner as a Baron buff with a Caitlyn starts barreling down mid lane.
Possibly a critical mistake here from Ray. He's going to be up in around 30 seconds from now. There's going to be a 4 versus 5 here from EDG. Doing their best to step up, try and clear out this minion wave.
Oh, he's not stopping.
iBoy, he's going to keep on going.
Barely misses skill shots on this Ezreal. He's one of the few Ezreals in the league that you actually give permission to him to play the Ezreal, you know what I mean? Ezreal's a hard champion. It was spoken by Prey as well, of course. Only good Ezreals should play Ezreal. iBoy is one of the good Ezreals. Yeah. Uzi is another. And I'd be struggling to think of a third off the top.
You can count them on one hand for sure.
Absolutely.
So we'll get the blue buff here for WE, and
Fury.
You are finding it hard to... There's one, but he's not in the LPL, so... WE...
Hey.
Huh?
Oh.
Oh, Fury! I don't know, I was thinking of... Something as I'm thinking of Prey for some reason. Yeah, Fury and Unicorns. Soon in gaming. EDG going to push up the top turret. And for now, WE, they have kind of been stalled. With the respawn of the inhibitor in the top lane, they're finding it difficult to just move up there, look for the 5 versus 5, even though that was a 5 versus 4 as well. And in mid lane, they can just clear out the minions. So EDG are stalling.
I will admit that WE have played this game out almost, and I said this to you in the break, but I'm corrupted from watching IG. I feel like they played it too slow, WE. They had opportunities to push. They had a big advantage through their AD carry position. They had a composition to continue to threaten sieges as well. They had a Baron buff. They could have perhaps been more forwards, more aggressive. They got an inhib. That was good to have, but they played around the Baron almost a little bit too hard. A Caitlyn composition isn't as Baron reliant as something like the Xayah in game number 1 that we saw from EDG. It's played a very linear style, and now they're looking for picks because the game has been all but equalized. 3,000 gold the difference. Now, I will say that 2 Mountain Drakes can take structures pretty quickly if they win a single team fight. It might actually just be the game over.
I mean, Elder Dragon's about to spawn as well, so EDG, they have to push up, but they are able. In the bottom lane, you can see a massive minion wave is mounting, and EDG, I mean, that's probably going to take their turret as well, yeah. On the way ping from Ray, he's going to try and clear it out, but WE, this gives him a small window to try and pressure.
It's just going to die.
Elder Dragon, I mean, look at how much damage Mystic does. It's already down to 3,000 HP. Can Haru come in for the steal? He's looking for it. It's going to be way too late. He's CC'd over the wall, and Mako and Scout, they just need to get out now.
Now, the Baron is not available, so it's just going to be an Elder Baron buff. A super strong WE running forwards. Try and trim the waves, prevent them from pushing forwards as best you can. WE could actually circumvent all of that if they wanted to look towards the top inhib. They could just run in, get vision down in the jungle and go there, and it looks like that might be the direction they're going, as they are also looking for Scout. He was about to recall.
Don't quite get the pick this time around. Not going to be a race situation here. And to be with this Elder Dragon, they're going to have this for the next couple of minutes. This might be the nail in the coffin here from EDG. Of course, W are going to go back to base first, get some items, make sure they are fully maximized before trying to go for this fight. But WE, they have the combat power over EDG now.
Amazingly, of course, the fact that EDG got that mid lane inhib is a big part of what saves them in any kind of subsequent team fights that occurred after the Elder Dragon was secured. They had mid lane control. They had the ability to push secured. The super minions will do it naturally. So they were set up okay, EDG, and they've held on. They've bought a lot of time time that maybe shouldn't have been there in the first place.
And you think about how long that bottom tower managed to stay up, though, from WWE. 957 has done a spectacular job at keeping Ray in check. It's only gone down now at 39 minutes into the game. So WWE, they lose that one structure, but they're going to be okay for now. And they're actually not grouping up and utilizing the Baron, the Dragon right now.
It's a slow process from Team WE. Everything is. Feels like now they're starting to move forwards. They didn't look towards top lane. They didn't all in just commit themselves to an inhib. We said there might have been respect from EDG in game number 1. Perhaps the same thing is occurring when the shoe is on the other foot. Team WE. Slow, cautious, methodical play. They're going to go top lane now. They've still got some of the Elder buff remaining. It's only 1 quarter left.
And
Push
even
has to happen.
without the Elder Dragon buff, as we take a look at the runes here from Mystic, who has Gathering Storm. So 40 minutes into this game, he's only getting bigger and bigger. WE, they're fine with playing it slow. They take the inhibitor once again. Walled off, of course, with that line of traps. And WE, they can move towards the mid lane. Move as a group, make sure no one gets caught out. But Mystic, he's pretty much unstoppable.
It's 20 seconds until the Baron as well, so the remainder of the Elder Dragon will help them get into when the Baron spawns. But it doesn't mean that there's super minions pushing top lane. EDG are still set for about a minute before a super actually gets to that wave. They could get here. I think WE's best case scenario is control mid lane, use that mid control to get towards the Baron, but EDG have already pushed it.
EDG are walking into Fog of War as well, completely revealed out by 957 on that Scry's Bloom. It's a full 5 versus 5, and EDG simply do not have the vision, and just one auto attack onto Mako chunks him.
Yeah, Mako can't afford to step up like that if he's not going to put the door up. Baron has been started by WE. They take it so quickly.
It's almost already dead, and Haro, he's looking for an opportunity to jump in, but he has no idea. He jumps over the wall, but it's secured by Magic, and Haro, he's going to be the sacrificial boar. He goes down.
Meanwhile, however, Ray did get an inhib, so they traded. It's not going to be the best possible trade. And look at WE. They've just moved to top lane. They're looking to try and get the pick on a scout that they won't get. But this could be a big power play from them, an attempt to just end.
I mean, 957 has the teleport. Once he deals with this mid lane minion wave, he will be able to just teleport up there. Ray is dealing with the bottom lane, and he does have his teleport, but he's going to be slow to this play. And WE, they're stepping up. They want to finish this one off. Here comes the teleport out from Ray, but the instant engage from Magic. He's making this happen before they can get reinforcements, and the first kill is already down to Haro. But Magic is going to trade his life right here, but it's just buying time. Mystic is just demolishing these structures. Now he's focusing down onto the Nexus. EDG, they realize they have to go in right now. Ray finds the kill onto the mid laner, but Mystic, he's still untouched. He kills one, backs away. Can he get taken out by iBoy? What a shadow dash out from 957. That's a resounding no on that one. And WE, they bounce back, and they bring us to a game 3.
A big confidence play from Team WE when they feel like they have the advantage. They push it to the maximum, and they will get themselves the victory, the equalizer in this best-of-3 series. It wasn't an easy game to finish in the end, but they do still get the expected result. The early snowball does result in a late-game victory for the Caitlyn and for the team-fighting composition of Team WE.
It just shows Team WE, they're not down and out yet, even though they are playing with Celestial and Magic, not the full original roster of WE. They are still able to take wins against EDG, who are currently at the top of the table in the Western Conference, bringing us to that third game. And you know, it was just a feeling. We both said it in that first game. I just feel like we're going to go to a game 3, even though everything that we saw, all the evidence that we saw with our eyes was like, this is going to be 2-0 to EDG. The Alistair said it, but here we are, game 3.
No matter how hard you try to just believe that it'll be a 2-0, when EDG plays WE, we go to 3 games. It is an unavoidable fact. It is just the reality. It's just the way it is. You'd have it no other way when these 2 dynasties clash. Still, game number 2 was a significantly better showing from Team WE. That's what you look towards. I do feel like the MVP performance we saw from Scout in game 1 was completely missing in this second game. They took the extra time, the extra efforts, and they focused him in the middle lane, which is what you want from Team WE. Get Xie going, get Scout behind, and the stars usually align for yourselves as a roster. So they played around that this time around. They get themselves the victory as a result of that.
And it was also the faith in Mystic once again. Coming out of that first game was like, just still put the faith in Mystic. Can he make this happen? Well, clearly he can on the Caitlyn. Move towards that late game, and he was essentially unstoppable. So really good stuff out from WE, taking it to a third game now. For now, we are going to send it over to the analyst desk.
Thank you, guys. And game 3 is upon us. WE pulling it back. And I know they showed it super, super late. Mystic with the Gathering Storm, 42 minutes in. What is that, 60-80 at that point?
It's
about
a bit less than that.
Yeah, a little bit less. Still, just massive work from Mystic and the likes of WWE to bring it back. But we got to start at the beginning of the game because it was a 42-minute affair from start to finish. Getting into the pick and ban, we did see topside priority from EDG with the Jungle and Camille first pick, and then the Ezreal. And Clement, I believe you were just telling me that this is a composition we've seen EDG play before.
Yeah, so EDG has tried this a couple of times. They only do it on the blue side. What the idea is you stick iBoy in lane and let Mako roam on his own, so it's easier to roam from the bottom lane in your when you are on the blue side. However, the problem with this composition in this setting was that they lost mid-game control very early on, so Mako actually had nowhere to go to. The second thing I want to talk about is WE's Caitlyn priority right here, because we have seen the Caitlyn Morgana be a very hot topic in terms of the Western LCS and the playoffs as well. And the traditional answer here actually in this patch would be to go for the Jhin or the Varus. So we see W already banning out the Varus. And the question that is very interesting for me is that will EDG just choose to ban out the Caitlyn, or do they have that option to actually go for the Jhin as a lane counter pick? So that's the kind of interesting question I want to see from them. Of course, Jin's more of a utility carry, and iBoy has to carry most of the damage on the team, so it might not happen. If that's the case, I feel like EDG should just ban Caitlyn.
It's what we just heard from the casters, you know. We did not get to see that huge carry performance from Scout in the mid lane, who put up massive damage numbers in that game 1, but in game 2, that was absent. He was playing Ryze. He was trying to go for some fun, fancy split push plays at the end of the game to try to balance things out, but just wasn't quite able to put out the numbers. That said, I think it did start in that bottom half of the map because, again, Mystic versus iBoy. How are things not going to spice up when those two are going head-to-head?
Yeah, what's surprising here is they got the level 2 kill once more, and that's not even supposed to happen in that lane. That's a very strong lane for Caitlyn and Morgana. You basically can negate anything that Braum throws at you. The concussive blows, the Winter's Bite is not going to land, but they still managed to get the kill somehow. It was a lot of very good footwork. They actually dodged the Dark Binding. They also dodged the Peacemaker from Caitlyn and were able to snag that kill. Props to them. However, the question really comes to when Scout isn't doing well and Mako wants to leave the lane, then your composition kind of falls apart if you fall behind early in the mid game, and that really culminated into the mid-game fight that happened close to the Dragon
pit. I think this is exactly what you were talking about. EDG maybe overextending a little bit as they engage fights on two ends of the map at once.
Yeah, so basically in the bot lane, iBoy has already fallen down, and any fight without Mako, I actually feel like EDG is a bit scatter-minded. They don't play as well as they normally do without Mako, and this fight here is just a classical example of them really over-chasing the situation. They roll more in, stops on the trap, you know, and you watch this play, Ray could very well go backwards and try to save the situation, goes in anyways, and it's just a really weird read on the situation. It's almost as if EDG, there was nobody telling them that iBoy was already dead in the bot lane.
Maybe this isn't such a great idea. It's almost like a bit of a case of overreaching for EDG because, you know, when we saw the pick and ban for that, they were kind of laughing in their chairs, kind of jumping up and down like, all right, we took game 1. This series it's out of the way. It's WE. We can go to sleep on this one. And then WE just came back and said, no, we're still one of the best teams in the league. We might not be at our semifinals level from Worlds just a few months ago, but we can still compete.
Yeah, their late game is definitely still incredibly scary. Their push potential and the way they move around the map, I was still very impressed by that. They never split up and let EDG have their chance with the Ryze Realm Orbs. They always moved as a 4-man to clear the waves together and then set up sieges. They're probably one of the best teams to study in terms of setting up sieges. So when you give them that type of a composition, you better bring your A game. You have to bring your absolute best to try to repel that. And the way you do that is you have to do it through flanks, you have to do it through catches, and you can't fall that far behind early.
And that's exactly what allowed EDG to get a foothold back into the game. It was a catch around the Baron buff that got EDG back in, chasing it down. Take a look, Jarvan has just now respawned for the likes of WE, and EDG just simply turn and take the numbers advantage fight.
Yeah, it was a very awkward fight here for Shi. He actually charged in and didn't hit any of the carries, so they were free to open up on Caitlyn. Overall, I felt like this was a blemish on WE's side. They were fighting a 4v5. The jungler already went down. What they should have done was just take it slow and reset the entire situation, force EDG again into stepping on those traps, playing through those ramps. But they were a little bit impatient there, so EDG did have a bit of a window, but honestly, it didn't last because Ray was caught right after that play.
Yeah, and of course, Mystic, his performance in catching people and setting up those trap lines was what helped propel WE towards that Game 2 victory, 6-2-6. And look at that damage percentage, 40% of his team's damage.
Yeah, he really is carrying it in the late game for WE right now, and the Caitlyn pick has been the linchpin for their strategy so far. I do expect EDG to try to ban that out, or at least go for traditional Caitlyn counters to take her out of a lane.
It is actually kind of funny that we are seeing WE sort of play this style where even when they have an advantage through lanes and late team fights and making small mistakes to let themselves get back in, they're still playing it patiently. They're still setting themselves up properly for these plays and, you know, making sure they've got wards, they don't get flanked, no Rise Realm Warps from behind.
Yeah, the only thing I think they EDG really need to look into and improve is Haro needs to get in on the early action. He's been absent, completely absent in the early game so far. The first game that they won, he still had less assists than the enemy jungler. They can't get action for him to either secure scout or to make plays and sync plays up in the bottom lane, and that's really weird from EDG's perspective. A lot of times they're actually winning these lanes, but they're doing so without the jungler. If they add Haro into the mix in a healthy way, unlike the way he helps Ray,
previously,
then I could see EDG really stomping this WE comp.
Well, we'll have to see if he's learned his lesson. We've got Game 3 coming at you. Don't go anywhere. The LPL is going to be right back.